Santa's waiting. Christmas Eve is slowly fading. Shh. You better watch out. You better not die. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year. Don't you know what happens on Christmas Eve? You know all about Santa Claus? You see Santa Claus coming tonight. You better run, boy. You better run. Run for your life! Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. This week we are doing another movie review. This is Silent Night, Deadly Night. Released in 1984, directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr., starring Robert Brian Wilson, Lilyan Chauvin, Gilmer McCormick, and Linnea Quigley in a brief role. She's in the film just long enough to get naked and get killed, as you've seen several times in many other films. Silent Night, Deadly Night was very controversial when it came out. And, just shattered kids' dreams of Santa Claus and of Christmas. So they pulled it from theaters after only a week. And it made over $2 million. So just imagine how successful it would have been if it had gotten a full release, you know. It's kind of a shame. But it has since, of course, become a cult classic. And it's one of my favorite slasher movies of all time, to be honest. I think it's underrated in a way because I think it's a great, kind of psychological study. It's a lot deeper than most, 80s slasher films, you know. It's pretty messed up when you think about it. This kid, Billy, just did not have a prayer of growing up normal. He didn't have a chance. Just incredible, the trauma that he witnessed in his life, you know, growing up as a kid. I also think it sets up the sequel pretty well, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. But the film begins with young Billy going with his parents and his baby brother Ricky to go visit his grandfather, who's staying at the Utah mental facility. So obviously he's got some serious mental issues, and he's kind of completely shut down. We don't really know what's wrong, whether he has, Alzheimer's or what, or if he's just completely shut down mentally. But, when they go to visit the grandfather, he's just stoic, just sitting there. He doesn't speak. He's just almost like a vegetable or something. So they're talking to the doctor, the parents, and then they go off to have a meeting with the doctor, and they leave Billy there with the grandfather. And all of a sudden he wakes up and he starts telling this crazy story about Christmas and how it's the scariest damn night of the year, and all about Santa Claus. And he's like, what happens with Santa Claus, don't you? And the kid's just like, yeah, he brings presents to all the girls and boys, And the grandfather's like, he only gives presents to the kids that have been good, but to the kids that have been naughty, he punishes. So you see Santa Claus coming tonight, you better run, boy. I mean, can you imagine telling that to a kid? Oh, man. Scare any kid to death, horrible, you know. It's such a traumatic experience. So after that, you know, we see that we see this dude dressed up like Santa Claus, going into the local convenience store, and he pulls out a gun and holds up the store, and shoots the guy, shoots the clerk, kills him. So we got a murderous Santa Claus on the loose, and he takes off, and guess who he happens to run into? Young Billy and his parents in the car, you know. So they stop to help Santa Claus, because the Santa Claus, you know, his car is broken down on the side of the road, you know. We're going to do our good deed, and the parents are like, look, you get to see Santa Claus after all, you know. And he's like, and you know, by that time, Billy's already, you know, horrified. He's like, no, I don't want to meet Santa Claus. I haven't been good all year. I've been naughty, you know. And guess what happens? He holds them up, shoots the father in the head, you know, beats down the mother and rapes her, you know. Oh, God, it's crazy. And then Billy goes and runs and hides behind the bush, and, you know, Santa Claus like, where are you, you little bastard? And then cue several years later, and Billy and Ricky are orphans, so they take refuge at St. Mary's Home for Orphan Children. It's kind of like this Catholic orphanage run by nuns, especially a very mean Mother Superior, and, you know, obviously, Billy has suffered serious psychological trauma, and he's having visions of his parents being killed constantly in his head, you know. And one of the nuns, you know, does try and help him and tries to tell Mother Superior that, you know, he's going through a lot of issues. You know, it's finally coming to fruition because he's kind of acting out. We see him do a drawing in class of, you know, Santa Claus stabbing people and blood everywhere, you know. He hangs it up on the chalkboard, and kids are just, like, freaking out, like, oh my God. So Mother Superior, you know, does not take kindly to that. I mean, she rules this place with an iron fist. And another thing is, Billy stumbles upon this random couple that's, you know, having sex in their bedroom. I don't know, who is that? Is that a nun or something? I mean, but, you know, he's peeking at him through the door keyhole, and Mother Superior catches them, and she busts in the door with a belt and whips the couple, you know. And then she tells Billy, you know, what you saw was very naughty. And when we're naughty, we're always caught. And when we're caught, we're punished. Punishment is absolute. Punishment is necessary. Punishment is good. So all these things that they instill in this poor young boy's brain, he's already messed up as it is. But then you got this nun telling him all kinds of crazy stuff, you know, that people must be punished when they're naughty, you know. So, oh man. As I said, this kid never had a chance. And like I said before, I think the film sets up a sequel pretty well, too, because we see young Ricky is there as well, his younger brother, who's a kid, and we see one scene where Ricky's talking to another kid, you know, what's wrong? And then the other kid's like, your brother's a nutcase, that's what's wrong. He's like, no, he's not, take it back, you know. So, hey, sets up Silent Night Part 2. But we cut to several years later, and Billy's all grown up, and we see there's this local convenience store or whatever that they hire young Billy to work there, and he's doing great. He's doing a great job. He's working hard. You know, he's all grown up. He's a big, muscle-bound dude. You know, strong guy. You know, he does a great job, and he's working hard. And but he happens to catch that the store has a Santa Claus, so he starts freaking out and he's like horrified, like, oh no, everything's coming back to him, all the bad dreams and the nightmares, you know, everything that happened to him as a kid, what happened to him at the orphanage, you know, it's all coming back to him. And then the store manager makes the worst decision ever made in the history of decisions to make Billy the Santa Claus, because I guess the Santa Claus they had, you know, broke his leg or something, he couldn't make it, so they decide to make Billy the store Santa Claus, and he does it, and he's obviously not happy about it. He's absolutely horrified at the idea, at the notion of being Santa Claus. Everything he's been told about, everything he's had nightmares about, now has come to life. He is Santa Claus. So he doesn't handle it very well, to say the least. So when some of the people he work with are a little bit shady, you know, they're doing naughty stuff, you know, his co-worker is off gallivanting around with this young woman, and they're having sex in the back room, and he walks in on them, and he's like, naughty, you must be punished, you know, grabs the girl, you know, wraps her around Christmas lights around her neck and hangs her, you know, beats the crap out of the dude, you know, crazy. So he goes on a murderous rampage all around town, punishing people who have been naughty, including one, Linnea Quigley and her boyfriend are messing around, you know, same thing, takes them out, you know, grabs Linnea Quigley up, and there's a moose hanging up on the wall with the antlers, and he hangs the girl up on the antlers. Nasty. And recently I just watched the unrated version of this film, and it's got some extra gore scenes. Although it's not quite seamless, you can tell, you know, where, you know, the deleted scenes were, but it's nice to see some extra gore, and the film was already pretty damn gory. And Billy's mission, of course, is to get back to the orphanage and to take out Mother Superior and all the nuns at the orphanage, you know. So, man, it's such an incredibly entertaining film. It's got some great kills, and it's got a great story to it for a slasher movie. I think it's great. I think it's just a great psychological study of this young kid who, like I said, never had a chance in life. There was no way in the world this kid was going to end up normal. No chance. So, how can you blame him? You can't really blame him. One of my favorite kills is when these kids are messing around, you know, sledding down the hill, and then this one dude slides down the hill, and Billy comes out with the axe and chops his head right off. That's crazy. Oh, man. One of my favorite scenes doesn't even involve a kill, when we see Billy finally make it to the orphanage at the end. And he sees outside in the yard there's a snowman. He takes the axe and cuts the snowman's head off, and the axe is all bloody and nasty. Like, it's such a fun scene, and it's a really fun slasher film. Definitely sleazy, you know. There's all kinds of gratuitous nudity and blood and guts and gore, and it's just such a great slasher film. To me, it's like the ultimate holiday-themed slasher film. And I know that Halloween is my favorite horror film of all time, but as far as the season goes, I think this film nails it. You know, there's songs that they make up, Christmas tunes that they make up for this movie specifically, you know, to save some money, of course, but they're funny, you know. Like the one, Santa's watching, Santa's creeping, Santa's waiting. Oh, man. It's really fun. It's pretty festive, too. There's a lot of Christmas lights and Santa Claus decorations, and it's very festive as well as being brutal and gory. So yeah, guys, I definitely highly recommend Silent Night, Deadly Night if you love slasher films, especially if you love 80s slasher films. And I just think this is the ultimate holiday Christmas slasher. I think it's just perfect in every way, really. It's creepy, it's scary, it's bloody, and it's just so much fun. So definitely give Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 devil horns way up. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared. Good evening, folks, and we got some brand new merchandise for you over at www.thehorrorcona.com, and that's CONA.com. Representing the Horror Corner. Great new design. We got the Morbid Hour live stream there, you got the Horror Hangout live stream there, and you got my nemesis, the Dark Fate. So grab your t-shirt over at www.thehorrorcona.com. And we also got this beautiful new mug. Look at that. Very, very cool. Thought that came out really nice. So grab your merchandise today over at www.thehorrorcona.com.